Hi, how you doing? I just wanted to get on here and talk to you about an incident that happened a few days ago at the VA hospital. But it's not a VA incident. While I was sitting in the waiting room waiting for my appointment with a few other vets, a story came over my phone. And I want to read it to you because I was just so surprised. It was really appalling to me. I'm going to read it to you. It comes from Governor Henry McMaster's, Republican of South Carolina. Quote, I look forward to the day that Democrats are so rare we have to hunt them down with dogs, unquote. I had just seen the Lieutenant Governor of North Carolina, Mark Richards, standing in front of a cross with a group of people and American flags. Isn't that some damn ironic stuff? Saying people need to be killed. And I wonder where these thought patterns came from because I'm sitting in the hospital waiting with people who fought for democracy in the United States, fought for democracy of other countries for the United States. And democracy means that I don't have to agree with you, but I have the right not to agree with you. Doesn't mean that you need to kill me or I need to kill you. I have Republicans all around me. If I was going to shoot Republicans, or hunt them down with dogs, it'd be a long day. And what really bothers me about it is that it also allows the populace to believe that this is the way it should be. Some people will take him up on their offer. Meanwhile, I'm watching television, and all I keep hearing are pundits talking about the age of Joe Biden. He's an old man. And I remember back and harken back to the time when they said that when Trump was in office, they needed to have an adult in the room. And I'm thinking, damn, an adult in the room with the United States president? Then what is the United States president? Now, we already know what 4 years of Trump will cause because we've been through those 4 years. 1 million people died of COVID. 500,000 died well before he even told you that he had COVID and that their treatment for COVID was the COVID vaccine because he ran his happy ass to Walter Reed and got it. And forgive me for cussing, but I'm military, so I do that sometimes. But he ran there to keep his butt alive, and they didn't shine a light up his butt, and they didn't give him any ivermectin horse serum. They gave him whatever the medication was they were giving everybody else in their arms, and he came back. But 1 million people died. He lied about so many things that we forget about what he lied about. And we made it normalized. Yet, pundits get on television and talk about the age of Joe Biden. Well, I'm an old man. I forget things. Sometimes I want to get a word out my mouth, and I'm well educated. As you can see behind me, I have something sitting back there, I guess. I'm educated, but even if I wasn't, as you get old, you lose your facility sometimes. And there's words that don't come out your mouth sometimes. Hell, Mitch McConnell froze in front of the cameras twice, and he's still sitting in the Senate. People want to help me sometimes when I lose a word. They like that word. And there's a lot of people that I wish were still alive right now that serve with me that could help me get a word. They didn't get to live to be this old. And I hope each and every one of you get to live to be this old or older. And know that there's a trade-off. But what I'm not willing to trade off is my freedom and my democracy behind some stupidity, behind something called conservative Christian nationalists. Nationalism is not Christian, period. You can look it up. You can find it. You can Google it. You can go to Reuters. You can go to AMP. You can find out what that really means. It's a code word. It doesn't have anything to do with the Bible. Project 2025, we're talking about it now, but Project 2025 has been out there for years. I talked about it on a podcast probably a year and a half ago. A group of people and we talked about it. And it is as dangerous as they say it is. It's not some miracle that's going to come back and save America. I mean, America's not a bad place as it is. People will have you think it is, but it's not. I've been to a lot of other places that are a lot worse. And I can tell you that a dictatorship, which what Project 2025 turns out to be eventually, they'd start taking over all the levers of government. And Trump, who is not the brightest damn crayon in the box of 64, you probably, if you gave him 128, he wouldn't even shine in that. That man wants to be a dictator. He wants to start camps to put people in. He wants to stop birthright citizenship. He wants to start criminal tribunals on civilians because Nancy Pelosi took him to task and they impeached him twice. Well, they impeached him because they had some reason to impeach him. And the January 6th, I sat there and watched it on television. There was nobody giving a tour. People don't give tours by climbing up scaffolding or climbing over barriers or beating down the police that they love so much with the police flags or hitting people with poles or spraying. I can't get away with that. So why should those people get away with that? And Trump says, but they were patriots. No, they weren't. They're criminals. They always were criminals. They may have been led astray. Once a mob mentality starts, people will tell you that when the mob mentality starts, people that you don't even think would be in the mob will become part of that mob. That's just general psychology. But you pay for being in that mob. You pay for carrying your butt over to DC and standing there and running inside the Capitol, crapping and peeing in the Capitol. But they don't want to talk about that. They want you to think about a man's getting a little older. I'm more concerned about who that man surrounds himself with. If he surrounds himself with a good group of people, a group of people that want to help America, I'm all for that. But if you're going to surround yourself with people like Stephen Miller, Bannon, if you're going to surround yourself with people who are racist, white supremacists, then the country can't go anywhere with that. It can't get better with that. It can't. So to me, I'd rather Joe Biden stand in the middle of the street and pee on himself than let them piss on me. That's how I feel about it. It's sad that there's a group of people out there that believe this is the way the country should go, and that there are leaders that follow that and they track that. They're tracking that way of thinking. Hopefully we can change this before it's too late. Don't worry about the man's age. And all the people you want to put in his place have already told you they're not going to run, and it's 4 months to the election. And we already know that Democrats sometimes are real slow on their messaging, and the Democrats are oftentimes not willing to get in the mud with the pigs. But in this case, you need to get muddy and go ahead and do what you got to do, because it's not about our democracy anymore. It's about it's not about whether we have a Republican president or Democratic president. It's about whether we have a democracy or we have a regime sitting in here. And no dictatorship has ever helped its people. And those people that are following along with it, I want you to know that you are as much risk of being hunted down like a dog or with a dog as I am. Because once they get control, they don't need you either. Think about that. Because I thought about that all the way back from the VA hospital, and it bothered me so bad. That's what my country has come to. A country that years ago didn't even care about me. When I was a young kid, I couldn't even drink out the water fountains. They had beaches that I couldn't get into. Beaches. We're talking about the ocean. The stupidity of it. They had a wall, like the water was going to stop at that wall between our beach and another beach. What we would say was the black beach and the white beach. I thought we'd come past that. I thought we'd gone by that. I thought we've given up on that. And we've learned to accept people for who they are. But now they're banning books. They're telling you about things that don't even happen in the schools. They don't happen. Critical race theory, DEI, diversity. You don't want to be diverse. You don't want to have equality, and you don't want to have inclusion. Then what the F do you want? Because the opposite of that, the opposite of woke, think about that. So when they get these little semantics games and they play these little word games with you, think about what the difference is. I'm not taking your job. I'm not out here to scare you. I'm not attacking your women. I'm not doing any of that stuff. Immigrants aren't running across the border shooting up people. I mean, there are people being killed by white people every day. There are people being killed by green people. I mean, people are people. But you have to have something to be fearful for. So be fearful. You know what? I tried to save a whole bunch of people because my job was a medic. I tried to save a whole bunch of people. And I saved my share, but I lost some. And that's why I was sitting in the VA hospital talking about that. But I never asked them were they Republican or Democrat. I wouldn't have hunted them down like a dog. I didn't give a damn about who they voted for, who they loved, who they cared, what church they went to. I didn't care what books they read. That didn't matter when I was trying to put an IV down them or open up their chest or trying to get them getting them to breathe. But now we've come into this part where a Republican governor, two of them, Republican and a lieutenant governor who's up for re-election, are talking about there are people that need to be killed. Think about that. Thank you for giving me 13 minutes, 14 minutes of your time. Have a great day.